relatively quickly on performance and security analytics. So I do want to make sure we have time on the questions, because that's definitely a part of this. I know there's some folks might be queuing up questions. So yeah, essentially performance analytics, right? That's like Oz had mentioned, completely different service than what HDX Insight was, right? This is a cloud service. This is a cloud native service that's built as a big data platform with machine learning and analytics, AI built specifically from the ground up. This is kind of the first, these are the first two offerings from Citrix as part of what Citrix is calling kind of the CAS, or the Citrix Analytics Service, right? Essentially enabling you to track and aggregate your data, and then giving you kind of key performance indicators, right? So specifically around, sorry, once my headset's going off here. Got this weird issue where my headset just shoves static in my ear. So you're gonna have to go to the next slide, because when that happens, I can't click the freaking thing to shut it off. So yeah, so anyways, well, I didn't see it right now, but yeah, so just pop back real quick. Yeah, so basically, yeah, so talking through the analytics piece, right, is the key highlight pieces here is, again, this is all full cloud service. You're able to pull insights directly from both the DAS platform, as well as your on-prem Citrix ADCs, your on-prem Citrix environment. It can aggregate multiple sites. So if you did have an on-premises environment with multiple sites, you do have the ability to do multi-site aggregation there. Obviously, with the Citrix tenant, right, you go to Citrix Cloud Service, or on Citrix DAS, it's single tenant, single site, right, multiple resource locations. So, but you can aggregate that all together. Probably the biggest thing that we were excited about, right, is once you move to Citrix Workspace, you have the gateway service, right? We didn't talk too much about that, but basically the HDX proxy aspect of the Citrix ADC, that's fully available and has been for years now as a gateway as a service, right? It's a service offering from Citrix. There's points of presences all over the world and on ramps specifically. So that's kind of all, invisible to the end user from a configuration standpoint, but it was a black box in the sense of analytics. So now you can actually get insights, which you're going to look at some screenshots for that. There's automated triggers as well. So you can do actionable insights on that actual data that's coming in. So you're getting performance and risk scores, not risk scores, but specifically user experience scores, very different than a risk score, right? So you can actually track that down, and it's historical as well. So you're getting data from your VDAs as well as your infrastructure, right? So the backend cloud, so the cloud connectors, right? When you're talking about gateway service, that you have two options, right? The traffic can go through your cloud connectors and be proxied that way, or you can do rendezvous, where it's essentially an outbound connection, brokers to the cloud connector, outbound connection from the VDA direct, right? So you can enable a greater scalability on those cloud connectors with direct access to the VDA. So with that said, the other main piece here that we want to talk about, there's dashboards specifically for infrastructure, for user sessions, and then there's his own self-service custom query language, which is pretty cool for actually building your own actionable reports. So we'll take a look at all those as well. So let's go ahead and kind of click through the screenshots there. This is like super high level, like you really got to get into the data. But this is kind of just showing you, once you log in, you see users on the left and you have infrastructure preview on the right. New actionable insights, so basically black hole detection, right? So when your VDA looks to appear to be registered where it's really not, this happens from time to time. This can actually detect that, tell you about it, and take an actionable insight, put it into maintenance mode, reboot it, etc. Same thing for those kind of zombie sessions that are stuck out there. I'll let you know about those as well. So this is the whole thing. When you have a big data platform, they start running and crunching analytics for you across all customers, right? It can start making these actionable insights. So this kind of just shows the user experience view. Let's go ahead and click the next one. So things that you saw, this is like Director on steroids, right? Director was localized. This is all cloud-based, right? So if you look here, so basically, as I mentioned, you kind of have basically a user experience score. So you can drill into those scores. So if you click the next slide there, you can actually see that we can take it down and look at logon duration. So this is what makes up the user experience score, right? Connection status, reconnection rate, logon duration. Then you can break those down and look at GPOs, profiles, HDX connection, off login scripts, etc. So you can really get pretty granular, similar to what you could do with Director, but in this case, much more granular. So let's go ahead and click next there. So this is kind of the big stuff here, is really starting to pull the HDX metrics, stuff that you would traditionally see with insights. You're now getting from, if it's on-prem through the ADM service, if it's in the Citrix Gateway service, it's all kind of happened behind the scenes there. But you can actually start seeing network latency, user input delay, as well as bandwidth utilization per session. So go ahead and click the next slide. And then this is really what's awesome. So this is, it was one of the global proof of concepts we were doing for a large call center. They had users connecting from Philippines, and as well as the UK and some other aspects as well. And we were able to actually see, it breaks it down. So you can see what's the on-ramp, where are they coming in from a point of presence standpoint to the gateway, what's their location, where are they coming from. Also, you can get in and see, new endpoint metrics, which we're going to see here. So this gives you kind of visibility into that black box, right? So this is just kind of closed loop analytics, right? So take actions on if your CPU or memory on a VDA or a specific cloud connector is X, go ahead and turn it into maintenance mode, restart it, shut it down. This is the start into trigger-based actions versus analytics. So this is pretty cool. We'll go into the next piece here. So and yeah, right here is perfect. So this is actually pretty cool. If you're a ControlUp customer, we do a lot of work with ControlUp. We've been working with ControlUp since the inception, and they moved over to the US. Love the product, but they have remote DX. So you start getting metrics from the endpoint, like Wi-Fi signal. Well, Citrix built that into the product now, and you're actually getting that native from the Workspace app client. So as long as you are on the latest version of Workspace app, you can start seeing, are they on a Wi-Fi connection? What is the signal, for instance? That's huge from a end-to-end visibility standpoint. And now you'll have that endpoint network telemetry built into performance analytics. Yep. And the last one here is just around, and the last one is just around session timeline view, right? This is really, really helpful. It's full historical timeline for your actual session. So you can go look through, if it's an 8-hour session, drag the timeline and look at the latency across the whole entire session. Very, very powerful from an analytics standpoint. Security analytics, I'm just going to